Good morning, guys. Hope everyone's having a great day. Today's video is going to be something completely different than anything I've ever done. Pretty much what it is going to be is the Fish USA Bait Challenge series. So this is going to be a monthly series that I'm going to be doing, and of course it is sponsored by Fish USA. If you guys didn't know, I did join as an ambassador for Fish USA. They're a tackle company that is diving headfirst into the kayak fishing scene, getting involved with KBF, all the local tournaments, really trying to make their store focused around kayak anglers and fishermen in general, but definitely kayak fishing this year. And so what is the challenge? Every month, I'm going to make a Fish USA order of 3 or 4, maybe 5 different baits that I feel should work during that month. Go out on the lake and try to catch a fish on each. Now, it's similar to probably other challenges you've seen in the past. However, with this kind of challenge, I personally get to pick the baits. Some of these baits are baits that I know should catch fish that time of month. Other baits will be new to me that I, in theory, think should catch fish that month as well. Anyways, what do we have for the month of February? Now, I will say this, we just came into February and January has been super tough for me, so we're gonna cross our fingers for this one. But let's dive right into the box, see what we have. We have, like I said, these are baits that I feel should do good this time of year. Again, this is early February. A lot of my baits are still focused around wintertime bass fishing. So we're getting baits that are gonna go a bit deeper, be a little bit more finesse, more bottom associated baits. The first bait I got for this challenge is a Megabass Dark Sleeper. Let's open her up. This is a 1/2 ounce bait and it is in the Wakasagi color. It's got a little bit of orange on the gill plate, little, purple pink hue to it, but a really good looking bait. What I like about this bait is its presentation for a small bait fish, and I've noticed that in those winter months, small bait fish on the bottom are easy meals and can usually get you a bite or two. And yeah, looks nice. Our next bait, and these are baits that you guys have commented on multiple videos that I should be using, especially when the drop shot's not working, and I did it. These are the Z-Man Ned rigs, the TRDs. So we've got some Ned locks right here. These are 1/5 of an ounce Ned locks. The worm, the TRD, is in that PB&J color. And I've never caught a fish on a Ned rig. Now, I don't throw it ever, so that's probably the reason. But we're going to give that a shot today. And that's what we have. A little sausage. Our third bait for the challenge. You guys knew I had to do it. I have to have a drop shot bait in there because essentially 95% of my fish in the winter come on a drop shot. So to mix it up, and a bait that I thought would look really good for winter bass fishing was this Lunker Hunt Bento Minnow. Well, how about that for a small bait fish presentation? It's got this little split tail right here. I would assume of all baits today, this one's probably my best shot of getting a bite. So that's going to be my confidence bait this morning, and probably the one I'll start out with. And last but not least, our fourth bait for the challenge is a jig. Another bait you guys have been hounding me to throw during the winter, and I've thrown it a bit here and there, just haven't had a lot of success on it. Don't have a lot of confidence with a jig in the winter. I picked up a KAYAK tungsten rubber jig. It's a football jig. It's a 1/2 ounce. This just looks super good. So what I really liked about this jig was that it was a 1/2 ounce, but because of that tungsten being denser than lead, we got a super small profile. Man, that looks good. That just, I don't know how a bass could resist this. And what are we gonna pair with this jig? Seems like a lot of these fish lately in the winter have been keying in on those small bait fish. I haven't seen them really spit up a lot of crawfish, so we're gonna go with a little boot tail KAYAK. I mean, that's as finesse as you can get with a jig, I would assume. Holy crap. So yeah, those are my 4 baits for this first month of the Fish USA Challenge. Again, just gonna have a little bit of fun with this video. Hopefully it's somewhat informative. We're gonna spend the whole day trying to catch a fish on each bait. That would be a successful and completion of the challenge. Let's rig up, let's get out on the water and start this challenge. keep an eye on the graph. And there's a bunch of fish down there in 75, 80 foot. The bait that I have on that'll get there the fastest is the drop shot, because I think it's a 1/2 ounce cylinder weight on there. We'll drop down and see what those are. This is the area that I wanted to start fishing. So we made it here. Had that little distraction of a bunch of fish on the graph. Just don't know what they were, and whatever they were, they weren't biting. But let's try this little Ned rig, PB&J. Can I catch a fish with a Ned rig? I figured a lot of the day would be looking at the graph. Just as it is for winter fishing, you're just trying to find that congregation of fish, find the right depth. But just to give you guys an idea for conditions, right now it is 42-degree air temp. Water temp's actually 52 degrees. We're post front. It's been raining in California for the past week. The runoffs have definitely muddied up the water a bit. So who knows how that'll affect the fishing, but I want to say these fish will be deeper. We might find a few pockets where they're shallow, but I'm thinking I'm going to find these fish in 45 foot or more. You can see it again. Graph is absolutely bare, but as soon as we hit around like 60, 75, there's tons of activity down there. Still don't know what they are though. They may not be bass. They're probably either crappie or something else. All right, that deep deal, not gonna happen, I don't think. At least out there, I don't believe they're bass. They're probably like crappie or something. But this is a really long tapering point we're coming up on. So there's a little bit of current, a little bit of wind, and you can see it's pulling around this point. So it could be a nice little spot for some of these bass to set up. Let's stop here. You know what? Let's go with the jig. A little KAYAK jig. Man, that looks so good. So finessey. Let's make some casts on this point and just drag it down and see if we can run into a few. Oh, the jig. Oh boy, man, we called that little KAYAK. This is my only one. I should have bought a couple, but because if I lose this one, we're done. Oh yeah, buddy, choked it. Well, that was textbook winter fishing on a point. Smoked that little KAYAK. Alrighty, thank you, sir. So that really couldn't have worked out any better. That was the first cast with that finesse jig. And as much as I would love to keep tossing that around that point, just like we did, we got a challenge to complete. So let's move on to the next bait we'll try. Another bottom bait that we can work slowly. Has a little boot tail to it, so it shouldn't be too different from the jig. Let's give that a whirl. Right now I'm right over top that point where we just caught that jig fish, and I think we found some bass, guys. I think we found some bass. Yeah, look at all that action. Gotta be bass. I can't get these, whatever these fish are, I'm pretty sure they're bass. Can't get them to bite this Ned rig or this drop shot. But let's do a little experiment. The one bite we've had today was on the finesse jig. Let's throw that back there and see if we can get a bite on it. Maybe it is the jig they want. Just fished the Finesse baits. Feels like a decent fish too. Oh God, it's a good one. It's a net-worthy fish for once. Alrighty. I knew they were bass. Man, that's the biggest fish I have caught in a long time, folks. Oh, look at this. Ready? Boop. Guys, that's a good fish. It has been a minute since I've caught a fish like that. I guess they just want the jig. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. Beautiful fish. But I certainly will, or try to complete the rest of the baits, but man, that's basically like 2 casts with a jig, 2 fish. Okay, we are on the fish. I gotta be careful. This is my only jig of this particular kind, and I do think it's making a difference. It's the tungsten, super sensitive, and just a great little profile. Jeez. Oh look, we got a brownie. Oh boy, another nice long one. We'll take it. Okay, you know what? I feel like I got the right cast in, like the right angle for these fish, that I wasn't fishing this dark sleeper before. So let's hope they bite that dark sleeper. This is the one bait today I was a little nervous about getting a bite on. Well guys, just to give you a little bit of an update, got one bait out of the way. Of course, they had a little finesse jig, caught a few good ones there this morning right on this point right here. It's been crazy, like I haven't been able to get a bite on the baits that I thought I'd be able to get bit on today for sure, which include the drop shot and the Ned rig. It's been almost 5 hours on the water, and I think what I'm going to do right now is just go over this point one last time with a Ned rig, just creep it along, just drag it and see if we can pick one up. They're definitely here. They honestly are kind of finicky. I think why they're here is a combination of things, but a lot of this brush extends onto this point, and it must be collecting some bait. I mean, you can see the birds up here too that are pretty shallow, and this is where the bass are at too. Exactly. This is kind of proving a point. I've fished this whole point with the different baits, and I cannot get a bite on anything except this jig. Just dragging it. It's a good fish. Man. It has been a long time since I've had a day where I've caught quality like this. Beautiful smallmouth. That's the deal right there. Thank you, sir. Catch up with him. He's coming right at the boat. Little guy. Well guys, that is going to do it for today's video, the first Fish USA challenge of 2019. Again, these are going to be a monthly series, so yeah, not a bad day. Let's talk about it. So pretty much only one bait worked, all good baits, but drop shot bait didn't work, Ned rig didn't work, dark sleeper didn't work. Big winner today for me. was that little KAYAK half-ounce tungsten jig, football jig, and just pretty much dragging this on a point. Believe me, I went through that same point that had fish on it with the Ned rig, with a drop shot, with a dark sleeper. I fished them all painfully slow, and the only thing I could even get a sniff on was the jig. I don't know, I feel like when these fish are keyed in on a jig bite, they don't really bite anything else, or at least I'll tell myself that. Yeah, that is the first video of the challenge series. Again, every month I'm gonna pick 3 or 4 baits that I think should do good that particular month. I'm happy to get this one out of the way. I knew that this one would probably be the hardest one of all of them this year, so I'm happy I didn't get a skunk, happy I actually caught some fish, some quality fish. As always guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.